Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I greet you from my sitting room in my home in my native island of Trinidad in the Caribbean. And it is today in Trinidad, the 28th day of Shaban. And so tomorrow night, we're going to look for the moon. If we see the moon, then on Yawmul Jummah, we will have to begin the fast of Ramadan. As I said, we're passing through a very, very unique moment in history when there is this so-called virus. It is a real virus, not an imaginary virus. People are dying. I don't deny that. And it is a virus which for the first time in history seems to be affecting all of mankind at the same time. This never happened before in history. And I have come to the conclusion, of course I can be wrong. I'm just offering an opinion. There's no harm in offering an opinion. If you are convinced that you are correct, then I forfeit. If you're in doubt, then don't bother. But I'm convinced that I'm correct, that this is a fabricated virus. And I make that comment on the basis of the footprints of the virus, yes. And I'm not the only one. There are others as well who are speaking and teaching and advising in a very eloquent way. I've listened to some of them very eloquently, very convincingly, that this is not happening by accident or by chance. This is a manufactured virus. And it is doing a splendid job. Oh, yes, it has been brilliantly conceived to bring about, to facilitate what I perceive to be the transition from Pax Americana to Pax Judaica. Okay. There are those who are saying, no, it's not Pax Americana to Pax Judaica, it's Pax Americana to Pax China. No, that's your opinion, and mine is different. That Israel wants to rule the world, and the Quran has spoken in Surah Al-Mursalat, this is Islamic eschatology at work. This is my profile of Islamic scholarship, which I inherited from my teacher, Maulana Dr. Muhammad Fadlur Rahman Ansari, rahimahullah, which he inherited from Dr. Muhammad Iqbal, which he inherited from Maulana Rumi, who got it from Khidr alayhi salam. This profile of scholarship is one in which we use insight, in which to connect the dots. And Allah wants us to do that because He tells us in Surah Al-Waqiyah about the usul tafsir, the methodology for study of the Quran. فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بَعْدَ أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِمَوَاقِعِ النُّجُومِ. And I take an oath by the positions in which the stars are located. وَإِنَّهُ لَقَسَمٌ لَوْ تَعْلَمُونَ عَظِيمٌ. And this is no ordinary oath or qasam. This is an extraordinary oath or qasam. إِنَّهُ لَقُرْآنٌ كَرِيمٌ. What is the oath? The oath pertains to the Quran. The positions in which the stars are located is connected to the Quran. إِنَّهُ لَقُرْآنٌ كَرِيمٌ فِي كِتَابٍ مَكْنُونٍ. This is a recitation. And this recitation is noble and generous. And this recitation is located in a book which is protected. لَا يَمَسُّهُ إِلَّا الْمُطَهَّرُونَ. You cannot even touch this Quran, much less to penetrate it, unless you have purity. Purity. And so, It is by connecting the stars that you're able to read the sky and know in which direction the ship should go or in which direction is the Qibla. So too you have to learn to connect the Quran, the verses of the Quran. You have to see the connection between them, and that requires insight more than the rational faculty. In addition to the rational faculty, it requires insight. It requires a capacity to harmoniously integrate different verses of the Quran pertaining to a particular subject, knowing that there is no inconsistency in the Quran. No verse of the Quran is inconsistent with any other verse of the Quran. It was because Dr. Muhammad Iqbal used that methodology. That is why he was such a brilliant scholar. It is because my teacher, blessed memory, used that methodology. That is why Maulana Dr. Muhammad Fadlur Rahman Ansari is a star which is constantly rising, more than 40 years after he died. And I have been blessed to be a student of such a teacher. And I'm using that methodology, yes, to be able to understand what is happening in the world today. Allah says in Surah Al-Mursalat, Intaliku ila zillin zi thalasi shu'ab. Let the world now proceed to a shadow which will appear in 3 parts. That's right. Well, I have done my work. I have interpreted it. I've given a ta'wil. But when you make a ta'wil or an interpretation of the Quran, remember, only Allah can confirm that it's correct. So it does not have the status of the other verses of the Quran, which are plain and clear, muhkamat. The mutashabihat you have to interpret, and an interpretation can be right or can be wrong, but we must interpret. And if you interpret, and if it is right, then this is truth. Truth will survive. The critics could shout and bark and do all that they want. It will survive. That's right. And if it is wrong, it will go down the river. And I have said that 3 stages of the shadow are 3 stages of Dajjal before the shadow disappears. Before the shadow disappears and Dajjal appears in person. And during that period of the shadow, there are 3 stages. I have said that within, did you hear the word? I said within that first stage is located Pax Britannica. I never said that the first stage is Pax Britannica. I never said that. I said that within the first stage, Pax Britannica made its appearance. Within the second stage, Pax Americana made its appearance. And now I am saying, and no Darul Uloom is saying this, but there are lots and lots and lots of people, thanks to the internet, who are convinced that I'm correct, so they can continue all their criticisms and shut the doors of the masjid on me. Alhamdulillah, truth will triumph. That we are now experiencing a transition from the second stage of the shadow to the third stage. Now then, let us refine my analysis. I said to you, it is too soon, it is too early. I cannot as yet offer a mature comment on the virus and the lockdown. I prefer to wait and see and analyze before I offer a comment. This is what I had said. And having said that this is the work of Dajjal, having said that we are now transiting from stage 2 to stage 3, Pax Americana to Pax Judaica, I am now ready to offer more commentary, my views. Now then, I don't think it's by accident that there is the simultaneous occurrence of the virus, the lockdown, and what is happening in the world of oil. That does not appear to me to be by accident. That appears to me to be by design. What is happening in the world of oil? Answer: the virus and the lockdown has caused a dramatic reduction in the demand for oil. Number one, dramatic decline. Aeroplanes are not flying. No. People are not allowed to travel. No. So enormous reduction in the demand for oil. Number one. And then number two, is it by accident that at particularly this time, Mohammed bin Salman would act in the way he did? This Mohammed bin Salman appears to me to be a client of Dajjal acting on Dajjal's behalf. Yes. And Dajjal is not a fool, he's very clever. So the mastermind for whom Saudi Arabia is acting is not a fool. That mastermind provoked the conflict with Russia over the price of oil and the reduction in the supply of oil at a time when they knew that if they could get the price of oil to plummet and plummet and plummet and plummet, as they have succeeded, what is going to happen, it will be unique in human history. Remember what happened in 1971. Most of you have been listening to me, so I don't have to spend a whole hour in returning to the history of international monetary economics, because you heard me time and again over the last 20 years or more. But there are others who've been sleeping. There are others who've not been listening. They had more other things to attend to. They were not attending to this. So they don't know anything about the subject. They don't know anything about the movement of money. They're just like the Darul Uloom. They have nothing, no understanding at all of what's happening in the world of money. They don't know about modern Western civilization and its link with the universal colonization of mankind. And then the universal colonization of mankind was not meant only to take your money. No, and to rule over you. No. It was meant to change the world and to bring about a world which will be new and different from the one which was before, particularly in the world of money. And so they removed gold and silver coins from the market, while the Darul Uloom was eating biryani and going home and sleep. You don't have to bother to be annoyed with me over my comments. I'm not going to tone down my comments on the Darul Uloom at all. Not at this time, when the opportunity has come to shake them up. Because we need a new model of a Darul Uloom, and I'm going to work for it. You're not going to stop me from it. We need a model of a Darul Uloom which can produce another Iqbal. This Darul Uloom can never produce an Iqbal. We need a model of a Darul Uloom which can produce a Muhammad Fadl Rahman Ansari. This model of a Darul Uloom could never produce it. And I am not the product of a Darul Uloom. So while this change was taking place in the world of money, they were sleeping. But others were not. Alhamdulillah, we have large numbers now around the world. Even schoolboys now are understanding the mysterious change taking place in the world of money. That's right. And they took the gold and silver out of the market, and they replaced it with paper. And they tagged the paper to gold at $35 an ounce. There was the Bretton Woods Accord. There was the International Monetary Fund, 1944. You know all of this already. They don't know it. And then came 1971, when the US government had printed too much paper, and they didn't have enough paper to redeem the gold for paper $35 an ounce. You know the subject, they don't know it. What can I do? Do I have to teach this subject 100,000 times? Let us, during this Ramadan, attempt to teach them, the ones who've been sleeping. And what the US government did in 1971 was to break the relationship of the US dollar with gold. The US government will no longer redeem gold for paper at $35 an ounce, which international law required them to do. And then from 1971 to 1973, the US dollar was in no man's land. It could have collapsed. And then Henry Kissinger, he's still alive, he thought he pulled off the greatest scam in history. He thought so. He didn't know that this day will come. This day has come. He went to Saudi Arabia in 1973 after the war. The war between Israel and the Arabs had taken place. And during that war, there was the oil boycott. And the price of oil rose from $3 a barrel to $12 a barrel, 400% rise in value. And the Arabs were growing very rich. And then Kissinger went to Faisal, rahimahullah, and said to him, let's make a deal. And Faisal, because he only had peanuts in his head, don't be offended, it's the truth, he accepted the deal. That Saudi Arabia will sell oil for only US dollars. They will sell oil for only US dollars. But the deal did not include what is going to be the minimum price of oil. Yes, Kissinger, are you listening to me? The deal did not include what would be the minimum price of oil. So Kissinger said, if you agree to sell oil for only US dollars, we will guarantee the security of the state and so on, and you'll become very rich. And yes, the US dollar kept on flying higher and higher and higher, riding on the backs of oil. The petrodollar was born. That's right. And the United States and the Western world became richer beyond even their wildest dreams. That's what the US dollar did to them. And the rest of the world was growing poorer and poorer and descending into destitution and poverty, while the Darul was eating their biryani and going home and sleep, betraying the Quran. That's what they did. I'm not going to rest. I have to denounce them. All these years I've been teaching, they were listening to me, they'll never bother to listen to me, they don't care for me. They say, no, he's wrong, he's misguided. No. How can one man be right and everybody wrong? Yes, you're wrong. I may not be one, and there'll be others as well, but you are wrong. You have betrayed the people. You failed miserably. And today we're going to tell you that to your faces. You're closing the doors on the masjid on me. You wouldn't allow me to. Look at what Allah has done. That alhamdulillah, because of the internet, which came from Dajjal, yes, but at least I'm able to reach the people. I'm able to reach the people. Thank Allah. Out of this evil, there is good. That is the benefit. I can reach the people and expose what your failure. What is happening now is there is a synchronized attack on the United States. And Trump doesn't understand it. I don't think he can succeed in understanding it. Synchronized attack. And oil is at the heart of that attack, yes. The price of oil has gone down and down and down and down until now. It's free. It's free. You can get the oil free of charge. More than that, the oil producers are going to pay you to accept the oil and store it. It's called, this is, the price of oil is now minus, I think minus $35 or something. That means they will pay you $35 for every gallon of oil, every barrel of oil you take from them and keep it for them. Oh, no, it's your oil, but you're just taking it off their hands because they can't stop the pumps from pumping. No, I understand. It's not my field. I understand it'll be too costly, vastly costly to shut down the oil fields and then have to restart them later. You can't do that. You just have to keep on pumping. So when you pump it, where are you going to put the oil? The demand for oil has gone down drastically. And at the same time that the demand for oil has gone down drastically, the price of oil has gone down as well. And oversupply and less demand. And so you can see that this is not happening by accident, not at all. The US dollar is living on borrowed time. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But if I see rain clouds, I can say rain is coming. So don't come to me and say to me, only Allah knows the future, only Allah knows the future, only Allah knows the future. And the same people would look up and say, oh, rain cloud, rain is going to come. Only Allah knows the future. Oh my gosh, what stupidity. Yes, only Allah knows the future, that's correct. But you dum-dum, don't you know that Allah gives you signs and you must read them? Will you not think? Have you stopped thinking? So what we're seeing now is that the US dollar is living on borrowed time. It has been living on borrowed time for a long, long time, but this one is perilous. If the US dollar collapses, and I have been anticipating that the US dollar will collapse many years now. Many years now. I don't know how it will survive. I don't know if it will survive this one. I don't know. But this is unique in human history. If the US dollar collapses, all other paper money will collapse. The entire monetary system will collapse and pave the way for another monetary system to replace it. There are probably millions of people out there who already understand that it is a universal currency that's coming. One electronic money for all of mankind. The only people who don't know that is the Darul Uloom. That's the only people. Because they eat the biryani and they go home and sleep. Oh no, they also shut the doors on Imran Hosein. He can't teach. Close the doors of the masjid on him. But all the others understand it. That there is one universal currency coming for all of mankind. And that is what I call a monetary, not financial, a monetary Armageddon or Malhama coming. I'm not the only one saying that. There are many other distinguished voices, men of insight and learning, who are not Muslims, who are saying the same thing. The difference is I'm saying it from eschatology. And so today I want to share with you, to remind you, what do we do? How do we respond to this? I have lectured time and again on Islam and the international monetary system. And I have advised again and again and again and again that time is coming soon when this prophecy will be fulfilled. Our Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam prophesied. And of course there will be some who would even criticize him for that. He said the time will come when a believer, in order to preserve his faith, would have to flee to the mountainsides and to places where rain falls and take with him some sheep and goats, meaning, to use today's language, you got to get off the grid. You got to get off the grid. There are those who have been clamoring and shouting and criticizing. No, we have to remain in the city to do the dawah. Okay, you stay, we're going. Now stop standing in our way. You can stay with your families, that's your choice. But there are those who listen to me and who have already gone out of the cities, left the United States, left Britain, left Germany, left France, went back to Algeria, and now they're thanking me. Left Britain and the United States, went back to Pakistan, now they are thanking me. Yes, I said, leave the cities, leave the modern West, and go back, go to parts of the world which are outside of the cities. Go to the remote countryside and establish small communities. And if you cannot establish a community, Sheikh, I don't have the money to do it. Okay, go and join in an existing village. Is that so difficult to understand? Go to a village which is already existing and seek to be allowed to live with them in the village. The only way they'll accept you is if you live, excuse me, if you live in the village the way the villagers live. That's right. You don't come to live in the village and you will a high standard of living when all the villagers are living simple lives. Okay? So live with the village the way the village lives. Eat the food that the villagers live. Okay? Live in a house similar to what the villagers live in. And you don't have to be only Muslims. No. In the Balkans, Muslims and Christians who want to live the religious way of life can live together in a village. In India, Muslims and Hindus who want to live the religious life, way of life can live together, provided you live as a family. This is the time, if you have some money, go and buy some goats. Your neighbor doesn't have any money, never mind, he can share with you. Buy some sheep, buy some goats. If you cannot take care of the animals yourself, you don't know how to do it, then go to someone with sheep and goats and ask him, if I give you some sheep and some goats, can you take care of them for me? And I pay you a small amount every month to maintain the goats and sheep. Then you can make an arrangement with him. Okay? This is the way to do it. Take your money out of paper, take it out of electric money, and invest it in land, invest it in animals. You can put it in gold and silver as well, but it is more important land and animals because that will sustain you. And live a low profile and try as much as possible to remain faithful to the truth. This is all I have to say to you at this time, that this is my continuing analysis of what is happening today with the virus and the lockdown, that this is an attack, a monetary attack on the US dollar, and these are the consequences which can come. May Allah bless all those now in Ramadan who devote their time and effort in Ramadan to opening their hearts, that Allah can fill their hearts with nur. Thank you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.